Hello, this is our second video of the how to sew the Sukumizu bodysuit. Here you go. This is the top sheet with your sketch. I've gone and cut all my pieces. I've used a stretchy fabric, so you gotta make sure that the fabric, my fabric stretches this way. So my grain line is that way, going up and down. So all my pieces will stretch across the body. So here we go. We've cut two of these. This is the back. We've cut two of these little pieces on the fold, so they look like this. Got two little pieces like that, 1 and 2. We've cut two of these, which is the side front. Up here is the armhole. And we've cut one of these on the fold line right here. If you look at all, the fabric allowance is basically 1/8 of an inch everywhere. If I open this up, here you go. It was cut on the fold. This is your center front. So let's start. We're going to take these two pieces that are the same. We're going to put them good side with good side. And we're going to sew this round part and this round part together at 1/8 of an inch. So it looks like that. You're gonna take your scissors and you're gonna cut all the way around on the curve seams like this. Don't cut through the stitching line. It's just to help it curve. And now we're gonna turn them inside out. Inside out, so we could have a clean piece. And what we're gonna do, you could stitch it down. You could have a little seam going through it to hold it down, or you could go and steam it. This makes your inseam right at the crotch area to be nice and clean. So now I'm going to sew the center back, which is this part right here. You do have a choice to leave a little gap in between your sewing so you could stick your telescopic stand. I don't. I just like to have a bodysuit with no opening in the back. So again, 1/8 of an inch. You could go and steam your stitches open if you like. gonna sew the center front with the sides. These are the sides that will go here and here. So we're gonna sew these two together and these two together. You gotta put them face to face. So we'll do one side. So this has to be sewn all the way up to this little part right here. This goes to that little notch right there. I'll show you what it looks like once it's sewn up. So you're gonna start sewing it like this right here at 1/8 of an inch. You could always pin your pieces together so they so you don't stretch one more than the other. Or just very carefully sew them together. This is one side. Got one side done. So when you finish stitching this seam, it'll make your armhole nicely. So again, this piece has to come and get sewn right here at 1/8 of an inch. I always make sure that I will at the end finish evenly with both sides and tack them. Here you go. This is what it looks like. So now what I'm going to do is sew the smaller piece here to this crotch area here. So you got to center it, and you'll see that you have an extra piece of fabric here and an extra piece of fabric here. What you'll do is you fold it over tightly on one side and you fold it over on the other side, and you will make a stitch going right across. I always back tack my stitch when I start and when I finish. Then this is what it looks like. You will flip it over and you've got your seams that are folded right here that are ready to be top stitched like that. The way I do it is that I'm not gonna top stitch this little bit and this little bit and then do the front. I'm gonna sew one side together with the front. So you got it face to face, the front and the back are together, and just pick one side. So we'll do this side right here, and we're gonna stitch it down at 1/8 of an inch. This is the side. There you go. So it looks like that. what we're also gonna do is we're gonna sew one of the shoulders together. I picked the opposite side. Actually, you know what we could do? Let's unsew this a little bit. Should have sewed the side after. Let's sew the shoulders and the armholes first. Again, this is how I do it. There are many ways to get to the final result. I'm just gonna unsew it. Okay, so what I'll do is put a shoulder to shoulder together, and let's sew that together. There you go. You got one shoulder with the other shoulder. Now we could finish off this armhole. Got a little bit of threads going on. So we want to turn 1/8 of an inch all around and top stitch. For me, the best way to do it is to put the face side of the fabric down. Let me take out these threads here and fold it over. Fold it over, because that way you'll see exactly where your stitch is stitching, and you can make it all nice and straight. I'm folding over 1/8 of an inch. That's the seam allowance that Danny has on his pattern. If you're not comfortable sewing it at 1/8 of an inch, what you can do is just add a little bit more when you're cutting. I'll show you. So it's been stitched all the way around the armhole. On this side, it's stitched 1/8 of an inch, or a little bit smaller because my stitch inside is 1/8. What we can do now is make the sew the back and front neckline the same way. So we'll turn it over at 1/8 of an inch and start stitching. Again, leave your good side down, so this way you could tell how much you're folding over. Center back seam, open up your seam so it doesn't make a big lump. If you leave both seams going the same way, then it'll make a big lump. Same thing with your shoulder seams. Make sure to open them up, or else it'll make a big lump at your shoulders, because you have all these stitches that are stitched together, and thicknesses that are together at the shoulder. There you go. Almost done. When you do use a stretchy fabric, you have to be careful, and when you're turning and stitching, not to stretch it too much. Here you go. Back, front neckline. Now you have one shoulder that needs to be sewn up. So again, face to face. Put your shoulder together. Let's stitch that down. Back stitch. Cut all your threads. Then we'll do the last armhole. So always make sure to open your seams so it doesn't make a big lump when you sew it. So now let's sew the last armhole all around, turning 1/8 of an inch. Your face, good side of the fabric, right down against your machine, making sure you open up all your seams, that way you don't have a big lump anywhere. Done. The other armhole, all these little pieces of fabric that are sticking out, cut them out. This here, I usually come with a bar tack and tack my stitches down, or you could sew it by hand and tuck the stitchings. It won't come apart because you did your bar tack, so that's a good thing. Now we're going to go back to that side that we had started. We'll put the shoulders, seams, edge to edge, and let's go and sew the side. I only unsewed about half of it, so that's all I have to do. Go. Cut a little bit of the corners off. So now you have armhole stitched down, neckline is stitched down, the other armhole is stitched down, the side, the center back, this little piece at the crotch area. So now what we're going to do is, you got these pieces going on like this, just, you know that, well, you got to figure out that this is what it's going to look like at the end, like that. So this piece has to be sewn right here at the middle center. So you got to grab the good side of your crotch like that. You got to grab this good side and this good side, and it has to be sewn together. So what you're going to do is just take this and flip it over and center it in between the seams. And to know if you're doing the right thing, just stick a pin through it and flip it over, and it should look like this. I hope you see it. Should look like that. So now let's go back. You want to make it all nice and flat at the corners. This seam and the end of your little crotch area has to be even. So this front seam, the princess seam, the center of your center front and the center of this piece has to be the same, has to be even. You could actually take a chalk mark and mark it, or make yourself a notch. And on this side it also has to be even. So what we'll do is, I have it pretty much centered, I'm doing it by eye, but you could always find the center here, notch it, and then find the center of your front and notch it. Not too deep, because if you do it wider than 1/8, you're gonna have some problems. Okay, so now we will stitch that down 1/8 of an inch, and we'll try not to stretch our fabric, or else it won't be nice. So here we go. One end, the back stitch, and then the other end. Here we go. Back stitch it. And we've got this piece sewn with that piece. If you want to flip it over to see if you got it right, should look like this. This is the front. That's the front. So now what we need to do is stitch this all the way down, all around, from the back all the way to the front, and from this side to that side. So let's take the shorter side, and we're gonna fold it over again 1/8 of an inch from your crotch piece to the side. We'll sew that up. Again, lay your piece right, like the good side, against your machine, so you can see how much you're folding. Try not to stretch out your fabric. Cut the threads. So here you go. You got the bag all sewn up. Now we have to do the back of the leg, going towards the front all the way to the side. A little bit tricky, but not so bad. So seams all to one side right here, and we're gonna fold this down, grab that, and top stitch it 1/8 of an inch all around, all the way to that crotch seam. So it's basically starting from the side at the front all the way through the front, and then right here at your back leg opening. Fold 1/8. The seams get a little bit thick here because you have a lot of them that wind up at the same spot, so you gotta be extra careful. Okay, you gotta maneuver in here, open your side seams again to avoid any kind of bulkiness that you might have. Sew it down. All around. Gotta be a little bit careful because it's a little small, but like I said, Barbie clothes are even smaller, so this is not so bad. Okay, so give it a little shake. This is what it basically looks like. You got it almost all done. Now we're gonna do the side seam here. Again, face to face. And we'll sew the side seam together. This is a good time to insert your label if you have one. I always insert my little label on the side. Got my label. I folded, and I will stick it on the side here. I actually do the other side. Oh, I won't do it on this one. I actually do it, put it on the other side. There you go. Make sure your seams are even, flush. When you start and you finish, this is the seam for the for your leg, and this is the seam where your armhole is, so you got to make sure it's even. Take a few minutes to cut excess fabric and threads that are sticking out. What I'm gonna do is, no matter how many times you sew, sometimes you have to fix some stuff. I'm gonna stick in my label right now because I always put it on this side. So I take my label, I fold it, I made a little opening. I just made a little opening, I'll show you. I made a little opening here on the side seam so I could sew my label on the side. Back tack, here you go. It's all in here, very nice. Give it a little shake. We still have threads that are loose. We have to go back to all those loose threads. Here you go. Oh, this is what your little bodysuit is supposed to look like. I will take a final picture and put it on Summer and show you. So here's the front, here's the back, my label, and I did put it on the wrong side. It goes on that side. I will fix it, and that's it. This one was a quicker video than the last one. Pretty easy. Just as like before, if you have any questions, just leave them on the comment section and I will answer you. My plans are to make the trench coat. I don't know if I make a video for that one. It's pretty long. I'll see what it looks like first. I have the trench coat here already. And that is it. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. Bye bye.